Hari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Shtotarashata Shishimat His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Shri Prabhupada Ki. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Shtotarashata Shishimat His Divine Grace Shri Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Thakur Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Nitai Gaura Premanande. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. Oh, glories to Shishi Guru and Gauranga. Oh, glories to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Shri Prabhupada Ki. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki. Hare Krishna. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 22, the marriage of Kardama Muni and Devahuti, verses 24 and 25. I will read 24 and then 25 is on the board. Prattāṁ duhitaram samrāṭ sadṛkṣāya gata-vyathaḥ upaguhya bāhubhyām autkaṇṭhya-unmathita-āśayaḥ. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. Thus, relieved of his responsibility by handing over his daughter to a suitable man, Svāyambhuva Manu, his mind agitated by feelings of separation, embraced his affectionate daughter with both his arms. Purport. A father always remains in anxiety until he can hand over his grown-up daughter to a suitable boy. A father and mother's responsibility for children continues until they marry them to suitable spouses. When the father is able to perform that duty, he is relieved of his responsibility. Text 25. Asaknuvam stadviraham Asaknuvam stadviraham Munchan baspakalam muhu Munchan baspakalam muhu Asinchat ambavatseti Asinchat ambavatseti Netro dairduhiti shika Netro dairduhiti shika Ashaknuvam stadviraham Munchan baspakalam muhu Asinchat ambavatseti Netro dairduhiti shika Ladies, Ashaknuvam stadviraham Munchan baspakalam muhu Netro dairduhiti shika Ashaknuvam stadviraham Munchan baspakalam muhu Asinchatamavatseti Netro dairduhitu shuka Ashaknuvan, being unable to bear. Tadviraham, separation from her. Munchan, shedding. Baspakalam, tears. Muhu, again and again. Asinchat, he drenched. Amba, my dear mother. Vatsa, my dear daughter. Iti, thus. Netraudai, by the water from his eyes. Duhitu, of his daughter. Shika, the locks of hair. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The emperor was unable to bear the separation of his daughter. Therefore, tears poured from his eyes again and again, drenching his daughter's head as he cried, "My dear mother, my dear daughter." Purport. The word Amba is significant. A father sometimes addresses his daughter in affection as mother and sometimes as my darling. The feeling of separation occurs because until the daughter is married, she remains the daughter of the father. But after her marriage, she is no longer claimed as a daughter in the family. She must go to the husband's house, for after marriage she becomes the property of the husband. According to Manu Samhita, a woman is never independent. She must remain the property of the father while she is not married, and she must remain the property of the husband until she is elderly and has grown-up children of her own. In old age, when the husband has taken sannyas and left home, she remains the property of the sons. A woman is always dependent either upon the father, husband, or elderly sons. That will be exhibited in the life of Devahuti. Devahuti's father handed over responsibility for her to the husband, Kardama Muni, and in the same way, Kardama Muni also left home, giving the responsibility to his son, Kapila. This narration will describe these events one after another. Once more the verse, the emperor was unable to bear the separation of his daughter, therefore tears poured from his eyes again and again, drenching his daughter's head as he cried, "My dear mother, my dear daughter." Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. I would like to ask for the blessings and permission to speak of all Vaishnavas and especially the senior devotees. Hare Krishna. So we are here in third canto of Bhagavatam. Kardama Muni and the appearance of Kapila. Kardama Muni is a good example for someone who was a perfect brahmachari. Then he became a perfect family man, and then he renounced from the world. So we can get knowledge and example from his life and learn so many things. And we were speaking in the previous verses how he wanted to see the Lord, and the Lord appeared personally in front of him, and still the Lord knew that in his heart he has a desire to be married, to have a wife, to have a kid, and the Lord sanctioned. He said, "Don't worry, very, very soon the girl that you were dreaming about all these years will come, will appear in front of you." Kardama Muni, he was completely dedicated to his spiritual practice, and he wanted to achieve the spiritual world. But still, he felt there are things I have to deal with before I can achieve the highest goal. And he was not afraid to do it. And soon Svāyambhuva Manu appeared with Devahuti, and we were witnessing amazing exchange between Brahmanas and Kshatriyas, how they were glorifying each other, and basically they were showing that we are dependent on each other. We are very much dependent on each other. And this is more or less the topic of today's verse. Are we dependent or independent? We are going to discuss this a little bit. But before that, I want to speak a little bit about the first verse. Srila Prabhupada was explaining how this is very, very important duty of the father, of the parents, to marry their children, especially the daughter. And I was listening to a lecture of Srila Prabhupada a few days ago. Srila Prabhupada was sharing something very interesting. The class was about first canto of Bhagavatam and Yudhishthira Maharaj, who is having this feeling of guilt in his heart. Why? Because so many people were killed on the battle of Kurukshetra, and he is saying now there will be so many women and they will stay without protection. So this is a big problem. And Srila Prabhupada is explaining how in Vedic society we have 5 groups of people that they should always have protection. And you can help me, but I think these are women, brahmanas, the cows, old people, and children. Thank you. So these 5 should be always giving protection. And Yudhishthira Maharaj, he is thinking what to do, how to arrange for the protection of all the citizens. And then Srila Prabhupada proceeds to explain that everyone should be given protection. And in this class, Srila Prabhupada is saying, actually the girls, they should be married when they are still very, very young. And Srila Prabhupada says, practically speaking, my 3 sisters, they were married when they were very, very young. One was married when she was 9 years old. One was married when she was 12-year-old, and one 11-year-old. And Srila Prabhupada says, and actually when one of my sisters became 12 and she was not still married, my mother, she was every night complaining to my father, you have to do something. And if you don't do something, I will go and commit suicide in Ganga. So my father, he was saying, what to do? You're seeing, I'm trying, I'm really trying, but somehow it's not working. And then Srila Prabhupada proceeded to explain that. And me personally, when I got married, my wife was 11 years old. But we got together a little later, meaning they were officially married, but she came to live with him a little later. And he said, my first child was born when my wife was 14 years old. And Srila Prabhupada says, and my daughter, I managed to marry my daughter when she was 16, but I was not happy. That was too late. And then Srila Prabhupada says, and today is getting worse and worse. So when I heard this, and it was like, what's happening here? But yeah, it can give us a different perspective of life. Actually, a way of dealing with some of the biggest problems that we have in modern society. And in some of the previous purports, Srila Prabhupada was explaining that if the daughter is married very early, she avoids a big problem. Because once the sex desire comes, we want to consume. Like when we are hungry, we want to go and eat. And the more hungry you are, the more you want to eat, yes? Sometimes we order so many things and then at the end we realize, oh, actually it was too much. My eyes wanted to eat more than my stomach. So Srila Prabhupada is saying, the parents, they always want the good of their kids, and they will make a good choice for them. So like that, it's a great responsibility of father to take care of this, and the earlier, the better. Now someone may say, well, this is impossible in the modern scenario. Well, it depends on many factors, where you are living, what's your culture, what's your background, so many different factors, but still the earlier, the better, Srila Prabhupada says. Srila Prabhupada is speaking how a women should be always protected, and this is very important. Protection does not mean slavery. Sometimes in the modern world, very often we understand protection as slavery, and maybe we have a reason why to think like that. Maybe because many times the person who was giving the protection was not qualified enough. And I guess if we discuss this topic about dependency and protection, many will say, I don't mind being protected and dependent on someone who is very qualified. Is it so? At the same time, if we think about it, in the whole creation, there is no position of not being dependent. If there is someone who can say he is not dependent at all, this is only Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Bhagavatam is saying, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Janmadiyasya Yatom Vayatitaratascharshu Abhigyasvarat Tene Brahma Hridaya Adikavaye. So Krishna is the only one who is Svarat, who is independent. And even Krishna, who is completely independent, actually he wants to be dependent. He says, no, actually I am not at all independent. He is also dependent on his devotees, on Srimati Radharani. That's why Srimati Radharani is known as Madana Mohana Mohini. She controls the Supreme Lord. In Nectar of Devotion it is explained that one of the 6 characteristics of pure devotional service is pure devotional service can control Krishna. So pure devotional service personified is Srimati Radharani. She can control Krishna. Whenever she wants something, Krishna is ready to follow, to do this. So Krishna even willingly is taking this position of dependence. So why not we? Why not take the position of being dependent? We have the story in Bhagavatam about Ambarisha Maharaj, who was in a difficult situation, and Sudarshan Chakra came to help. And we know Durvasa Muni, he was running throughout the whole universe, and at the end he was seeking for the protection of Vishnu. Personally, he went to the Supreme Lord and he said, only you can help me, only you can save me from Sudarshan Chakra. And Vishnu said, well, even I cannot help you. You have to go and look for shelter to my devotee. Go to Ambarisha Maharaj and ask for mercy, and if he decides, then no problem, you get it. But then Durvasa Muni, he wanted to establish what is right and what is wrong. Like sometimes when we have conflicts, when there is some argument, we really want to establish who is the right one and who is the wrong one. But sometimes this is not the most important. There are more important things than this. So in this case, Durvasa Muni, he wanted to establish what is more important. The Brahmanas and their word, or Ekadashi, the following the vow of Ekadashi. Like it looks like Ambarisha Maharaj, just for this vow of Ekadashi, he was ready to compromise his acting towards the Brahmanas. So which one is more important? You tell me, my dear Lord. And whatever you say, okay, I'll accept. And then Vishnu said, well, I don't know what Ambarisha Maharaj. And whatever he says, this is my word. And then Krishna spoke these famous verses. Aham bhakta paradino hiya svatantraiva dvija sadubir grasta hridayo bhaktar bhakta jana priyaha. Actually, I am not at all independent. I am completely dependent on my devotees. What to speak of my pure devotees? Even the devotees of my devotees are so dear to me. So Krishna is willingly taking this position of being dependent on his devotee. We have so many cases of this, like in the case of the Pandavas. Krishna, he was willing to do so many services for the Pandavas. Arjuna ordered, Senayor ubayor madhye ratam stapam yachyuta. And Krishna said, yes sir, I'll do it. And Krishna was fulfilling the order of Arjuna. The Pandavas wanted Krishna to be a messenger. He said, yes, I can do this service for you, no problem. Sometimes Pandavas, when they were in exile, they would rest at night and Krishna would go and spend time with them and see them, and he would protect them. He would stay whole night as a guardian. He won't sleep. That was his service to the Pandavas. So Krishna, he likes to take this position of being dependent, doing something for the pleasure of his close personalities. In the life of Advaita Acharya, Advaita Acharya, we know he's the Supreme Lord, he's Bhagavan. But Advaita Acharya, he is experiencing special ecstasy, the Bhakti Bhava, the ecstasy of performing devotional service. And then it is explained that Advaita Acharya, and again he was saying, I am the servant of Lord Chaitanya, I am the servant of Lord Chaitanya, I am the servant of Lord Chaitanya. And he was in complete ecstasy from this. So again and again we see this example. It's not something bad to be in a position of a servant. Rather, especially we as a Vaishnavas, we are trying to take this position. We are relishing this position, and this is our happiness in life, to serve. Many times on classes of senior devotees, we have heard that in the spiritual world, when you take position which is lower, the lower position, the more ecstasy you experience. In the material world, it's the opposite. We want to be on the top. We want to be on the top. But in the spiritual world, it's not like that. When you are ready to serve, actually you are getting more happiness, more ecstasy, more bliss from this. And if we think about it, in life, at least in the personal life, everything is a question of relationship. In the impersonal life, in the impersonal philosophy, we want to get rid of the relationships. Let's say we have a relationship and we have difficulty in this relationship, and then we have some bad feelings, and then we want to quit the relationship. And we want to stop having a relationship with anybody. Is it so? Sometimes it happens. I don't want to see him anymore, I don't want to see anybody. I just want to exist, Brahman existence, liberation. Very often we come to this conclusion, to this philosophy from our material experience. But even materially speaking, fun in life comes from relationships. And relationship means you become dependent on someone. Isn't it? If you enter in a relationship with someone, you become dependent on him. Because you cannot do whatever you like all the time. Sometimes you have to do what the other person wants. You want to eat in this place, but he has, no, I don't like this place, I want to go there. And now you have to accommodate. So, relationship means you become dependent. And philosophy of bhakti means relationship. Yes? Is it so? We want to have relationship with spiritual personalities. Mahat sevam dvaram ahur vimukte. We want to serve great personalities. Mahatmas, sadhus. We want to serve them. Why? Because if we serve them, we will get their qualities. We will make spiritual advancement. Tamodvaram yoshita sangi sangam. We don't want to associate with materialists, with people who are very much attached to sense gratification. So this is the way to make a spiritual advancement. Like Srimad Bhagavatam is saying, Satam prasangam mama vidya samvido bhavanti hrit karnarasayana kata tajoshanat ashapavargavartmani shadaratir bhaktiranukhramishyati. Only in the association of devotees, Krishna Katha can become very relishable, very sweet, very tasty for the heart and for the ears. Without the devotees' association, we cannot actually experience the happiness in Krishna consciousness, in spiritual life. Srila Prabhupada has one very famous purport in, I believe, 4th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, where he says, to think that you can advance in Krishna consciousness without the association of devotees, it means you are living in hallucination. So, we are dependent, and that's the reality. Now someone may say, hey, wait a minute, I'm ready to be dependent only from perfect personalities. Bring me someone who is perfect, show me someone who is perfect, no problem. I can serve him, I can bow down. If not, if he is not completely perfect, then I am ready to bow down only up to this level, not more than this, okay? Not complete surrender. Show me perfect personality, then I will surrender. And even some devotees, they say, that's why I don't want to associate with the devotees in this world, because when I see them, I see so many imperfections. I want to associate only with the devotees on the pages of Bhagavatam. They are perfect. You see, read the story, no any disadvantages, no any bad qualities, everything is perfect. Interesting philosophy. Well, if you go to buy clothes from the shop, do you say, I'll buy only the perfect dress, and if I don't find it, then I won't buy anything? Is this our practical philosophy in life? Or we are looking for something, but if we don't find it, we say, okay, then I'll be happy with the second best. Is it so? If you're looking for food, you have some idea, but if it's not the best anyway, still you have to eat. So at the end of the day, we have to be practical. And then we are in a society of devotees, and yes, we can say everyone has something, maybe some not perfect quality. But also those devotees, they have so many amazing qualities. From all these devotees you can get so much. They have Vaishnavas, they have a hidden gems. Sometimes you don't know they have them, but they do. And if you associate with them, if you take proper, if you have proper attitudes toward them, they can give you this special jewel, special wealth that they have. So it's not that we have to associate only with completely perfect Vaishnavas. With every devotee we can get something. One devotee, he has amazing taste for chanting. Another devotee, he has amazing taste for Bhagavatam. Another devotee, he has amazing taste for parikrama. Another devotee, he has amazing taste for kirtan, for harinam. So if we associate with those devotees, we can get this thing. Like when we are shopping, for one thing we go to this shop. You know, oh, the best spices I can get from there. But when you want rice and dal, you know, no, this is the best shop. So like that, same thing in Krishna Bhakti, we can get so much from each and every Vaishnava. It's on the border of offense to think that, oh, I saw this devotee, he is doing this and that. Yesterday I saw him overeating with Shrikant, so I don't think he is qualified for my service. I'll find someone who is more qualified. No, it's not like that. And also, if you think about it, all these great Vaishnavas described on the pages of Bhagavatam, well, they are also humans. They are extraordinary personalities, but they are humans. That means in certain situations they act as a pure devotees, but they also have their human side, meaning sometimes they are getting angry, sometimes they are getting on the case of someone, like Prithu Maharaj, 4th canto of Bhagavatam. Prithu Maharaj, he saw that people, they don't have enough food to eat, and he was deliberating. And he saw, oh, the earth doesn't want to give them enough. And he started chasing after the earth, which took the shape of a cow. But still, Prithu Maharaj was chasing her, although she was in the shape of the holy animal cow, and he was ready to kill her. And said, hey, why you are not giving enough food to my citizens? To my praja. And she said, well, you know, people, they are not acting as devotees anymore. They are becoming gradually complete materialists, and they want to use everything only for sense gratification, not for yagya. That's why I'm hiding everything. So Prithu Maharaj could say, okay, fair enough, then give them as much as they deserve. But he said, no, give everything, now, immediately, otherwise I will kill you. And he manifested this anger. Externally he was very, very angry. The four Kumaras, when they were going to Vaikuntha to take the darshan of the Supreme Lord, and they were stopped by Jaya and Vijaya, and suddenly they became angry, so much so that they cursed the devotees. They cursed the servants of the Lord. Someone may say, oh, what Vaishnavas are those? Well, good enough Vaishnavas to start one of the four sampradayas in this material world. So I guess it's good enough in the eyes of Krishna. So like that, these are also personalities described on the pages of Bhagavatam. So we should try to develop this vision of seeing the good qualities and not seeing the bad qualities. As Srila Prabhupada was saying, we have to be like the bees and not like the flies. We should try to focus our attention on the good, and then we will be able to learn something from each and every devotee. And also we will be ready to learn from each and every devotee. Because as we said, each and every devotee has something to give. Now the question is, do we have the right mood, the right attitude to learn, to take the position of dependence, to take the position of the servant? This requires some humility, some surrender. Without this humility and without this surrender, it will be very, very, very difficult to take this position of a servant, of someone who is dependent. There is an interesting story I like to say about a guru and a disciple. The guru, he had to go somewhere, and he asked the disciple, please take care of the garden, we have all these plants and I want you to put them in the ground the way how I'm showing you. And he showed him personally. He put one plant with the roots upwards and with the leaf downwards in the ground. And the disciple, he was a little bit confused. Hey, wait a minute, what's happening here? But anyway, the guru left and he was deliberating, and he said, I think my Guru Maharaj, he got it wrong. Maybe he was in a hurry or whatever, but I mean, obviously the plants, you put them with the roots down and with the leaves up, isn't it? And so he said, let me do the job the right way. And he put all the plants, nice garden, watering. He was very happy. And then the Guru came after a few days and saw the garden and said, what have you done? What have you done? I told you how to plant them. And disciple, he said, but Guru Maharaj, if I would do it this way, nothing would grow. And the Guru said, no, it would grow. Humility would grow. So we need a humility and we need a surrender, otherwise we cannot take advantage from the mercy of the Vaishnavas. Recently with a group of devotees, we went to South India. We visit also Sri Rangam, the famous holy place. We took the darshan of Ramanujacharya, who is still there, Svayam Sharira, his own body. And one of the pujaris in Sri Rangam temple, he was a very educated person. He told us he was working long years abroad, traveling a lot in the world, and actually visiting many of these temples, and he was very, very, very favorable, and he glorified Srila Prabhupada so much. Actually, he almost started crying when he was speaking about Prabhupada, because he said, here I am trying to preach to my God brothers and other Vaishnavas how important is to chant the holy name, but they are not doing it somehow. I cannot understand why. And Swamiji Prabhupada, he went to the West, to the people who are not Vaishnavas, who are eating anything and everything. And he made them chant the holy name. I cannot understand how he is doing this, from where he is getting this power. He was like amazed and glorifying Prabhupada. And then he shared something very interesting. He said, many people, they think to make spiritual advancement, you have to surrender. And when you follow the process and you are surrendered, this is how you are getting to the spiritual world. But he said, it's not exactly like that. Actually, you are going to the spiritual world because of the mercy of the Lord. If the Lord decides to give you mercy, then you can advance and you can go to the spiritual world. But the Lord, He is already giving us mercy in so many ways. The holy name, Bhagavatam, Sadhu Sangha, Mathuravas, living in the holy Dham, serving the deities. So many powerful ways we are getting the mercy of the Lord. Actually, Chaitanya Charitamrita is saying these 5 most powerful angas of bhakti, they are so powerful. Sakala sadhana shreshta ei pancha anga. Krishna prema janmaya ei panchera alpa sangha. Even if you little bit associate with those 5, they can immediately make you experience bhava, experience love of God. But he said, we cannot take advantage unless we are humble, unless we are surrender from those. So we are missing the mercy. And he explained the surrender, the humility is like a vessel. If you don't have this vessel, you cannot actually take advantage of the mercy of the Lord. The mercy is coming and is going. It's coming from one ear and is going from another, and you don't do anything about it. But when you are surrendered, when you are humble, then you'll be able to act. You'll be able to understand and to apply in your life, and then the result will come. So this is what Srila Prabhupada explains here, that everyone should be protected, everyone should be dependent, women should be protected, disciples should be protected from the guru, praja should be protected from the king, and all the living entities should be ready to take the position of a servant and be protected from the Supreme Lord, be dependent on the Supreme Lord. So Srila Prabhupada says, Kardama Muni, he'll give example for all this in this narration. Hare Krishna, thank you very much for your attention. Any questions, or if you like to add something? Yes, Rameshwara Prabhu want to say something.
Thank you very much for that class. I wanted to mention, yesterday when we were talking about Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, what I didn't bring up is that for 100 or 200 years, Gaudiya Vaishnavism had been completely polluted. And had it not been for him, the lion guru, there wouldn't be anything left to the sampradaya. What happened especially were immoral men. They started worshiping Radha and Krishna, thinking, well, we're all part of Krishna. Look how Krishna enjoys with the gopis. And we are part of Krishna, so that is natural. And this perversion of illicit sex spread through Gaudiya Vaishnavism, until Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati smashed it. But while he was smashing it, he did something revolutionary that had never happened before. He created the first ashram for women. Just women. To keep them away from these immoral, crazy men who were misunderstanding Krishna. Now, Srila Prabhupada was empowered to take everything that Srila Bhakti Siddhanta had started and expanded in so many ways that we couldn't even imagine. So when I came to this movement, there were women ashrams. And Prabhupada was not directing us right away, oh, everyone in the women's ashram has to get married. Actually, that's not what he was directing. I was very surprised. You know, you read all these purports. Instead, Prabhupada said, no, no, no. I want them to use all their natural abilities to distribute my books and to preach. Have preaching programs. And revolutionary, he sent out women preaching. And they became some of the greatest book distributors in the history of ISKCON. And some of them, to their dying day, or some of them haven't died yet, never stopped preaching. Whether they got married or stayed brahmacharini, they were using what Prabhupada had given them, that understanding that I have this female body, and unless someone is liberated from the bodily concept, I can control half the population of the world with this female body. Let me use it to give them Krishna, not for my sense gratification. And they became such great women book distributors. So that's another option for the ladies, that this movement will protect them, give them housing. Like in New Dwarka, they still to this day have a very large female brahmacharini ashram. Nice apartments, building, everything, just for them to do service. So I just wanted to say that when the adult women join this movement, it's not like the first thing we get them married. The first thing is we train them to be brahmacharini. Just like when men first come to this movement, we train them to be brahmachari. And then what they do with that depends on their realization. But they can use that training in different ways. I just wanted to share that, because that's what Prabhupada did when all these women who he accepted as his daughters started coming. He created ashrams for them. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Yes, Mother.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. That class was marvelous. Thank you so much. It's interesting because it's like the first half of the class was dedicated to how, like, traditionally women are protected. And then in the second half was really about, or at least in the middle, it kind of transitioned into how we treat each other as Vaishnavas, how we see the best in each other, and then developing this humility. And so my question is about sometimes when we are navigating, imbibing the values of Vaishnavism, especially humility, like it's the Siddha Pranali, right? This is the goal, is to be able to, if we can imbibe humility, if we can receive humility, then like Krishna Prema is like, you know, almost automatically bestowed, right? So, but at the same time, sometimes this propensity to just see the best in all Vaishnavas only really serves us in our devotional life in like an external context, like socially, you know, like interacting at the temple with each other. But then when it comes time to bring somebody into your innermost circle, then it can become really dangerous to accept them with the same abandon and with the same, like, you know, Bhakti Swami says compassion is our armor as spiritual warriors. But when our compassion extends so far that now we're bringing that person into our inner circle, right, into a more intimate relationship. I know women experience this, probably men experience this too, right? When you're just so open that now those same spiritual values that are supposed to make you eligible for Krishna prema are actually like decentering you from even being able to practice spiritual life, because now you're cultivating a relationship with the more degraded aspects of a Vaishnava. You know, they are Vaishnavas. So I guess that's the question: is how we can navigate and find this harmony between these, two realities.
Okay. Thank you. Well, basically, Mataji, tell me if I have to add something, but basically Mataji is saying that, like, in the society of Vaishnavas, we have nice relationships, but when you have to allow someone to enter in your life, and suddenly you have a very close relationships, then it becomes a little bit difficult, because there are challenges. So how to deal with this? Is it so? Sometimes even dangerous. It can be dangerous. If they are Vaishnavas even. First I will start from the point what Rameshwara Prabhu was saying, that what they were doing in the beginning, they would train very nicely the devotees. They will get a good training, and then they will marry, then they will get together. In other words, they try to give the idea of all devotees to understand that, wait a minute, it doesn't matter if you live as a brahmachari or as a married person, Krishna should always stay the center of your life. So the more we try to make Krishna the center of our life, the less problems and difficulties and dangers there will be. Why? Because practically speaking, all the problems in the relationships, they come from false ego. And false ego means me, what I want. Why we always have to do what you like? No, we'll do whatever I like. We'll eat whatever I like. We'll go wherever I like. So when the ego enters into the relationships, it becomes very, very difficult. The less ego, the easier it becomes. And what means practically, in our Vaishnava philosophy, less ego? It means Krishna should be in the center. We have to put Krishna in the center. It's not me, it's Krishna. Like when you do a yagya, when you offer something in the fire, you always say, Svaha, idam Krishna, idam namama. It's for Krishna. It's not for me. You always remind yourself, okay, this relationship that I'm getting married now is not for my pleasure. It's for Krishna's pleasure. Let us live in such a way so that we give pleasure to Krishna. Let's treat ourselves in such a way so that we give pleasure to Krishna. And if the boy and the girl are very nicely trained, then it will be much easier. Not without the problems, because it's not possible not to have problems. Actually, the difference in the female and male nature creates the variety. They say variety is a spice of life, yes? That's why people, they want to get married. Okay, let me have little spice in life. If you don't want to have a spice in life, stay a brahmachari, and then your life will be very boring. It looks like that, but actually it's not. You associate with Bhagavatam. Variety creates interest. Anyway, my point is, if the boy and the girl are very, very nicely trained, then it will be much easier for everyone. But always there will be difficulties, and they just have to work. A friend of mine told me he was traveling somewhere in India, in a train, and he saw a very nice couple, married like whatever, 50, 60 years. And he asked them, how are you making it? How are you making it? Like, divorce in India is still quite low, and people, they have very successful marriages. And they said, you know what? You in the West, you start from 100% in your relationship. And then you go to 0. So you consume the whole relationship the first, whatever, few weeks. And we start from 0. Like your mom and your dad come one day at home and says, okay, we got a husband for you, and come to get to know him. It's a 0. You don't know this person. You don't know anything about him. But then we build up a relationship and we have successful marriages. So I personally can say that for my Western mind, sometimes this is like a little bit difficult to understand because we grew up in a different way. We grew up like, okay, I'm 15, I just come out of home and I do whatever I want to do and that's it. Now I'm a grown-up person. But the closer we come to this standard, to this idea, to this Vedic lifestyle, the easier it will be, because sattvic lifestyle, it will bring lots of regulation in our life. And okay, regulation, it means sometimes you don't do exactly what you want to do, but also it means very much relationships which are balanced, which are regulated. And again, they will bring you so much joy, so much happiness, but everything is regulated, smooth in life. Is that okay?
Divorce rate is now 50%. That's a statistic that's absolutely published everywhere. American divorce rate, 50%. What kind of a culture is that? Abortion rate, unbelievable. 1,200,000 a year. Okay, this is not human. So thank you for explaining how that could become human.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. Thank you for everyone. Hare Krishna. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Srila Prabhupada